So you guys may remember the New York party that occurred in ZL2 in June of 2024 in celebration of the Return to New York trips IRL. But what if I told you that this party was completely different from the way it ended up actually becoming? In this Saturday Stories, similarly to the Legos Island Welcome Back party, I'll be explaining the entire story of development across this party and how it was changed to the way that we saw it in that respective time frame from late June to early July. Because boy, there were some changes that were not originally meant to be in there that ended up being there. So, without further ado, this is Saturday Stories, episode 122. Let's get the most obvious thing out of the way. The original intention behind this party was that the houses, the recreated versions of the houses that we visited in this party, were originally not going to be the Legos Island versions that we ended up seeing. You see, in the Creations world, I was planning to recreate the entirety of these houses, and I mean not the miniature versions that we saw in Legos Island. No, I mean the full-on remakes of these houses. Like how I recreated my old house in real life on LEGO Master 6.7's Creations. You guys remember how I recreated the entirety of my house, my old one? And was almost going to do the same for my current one, which I will get to in the future. That was going to be the same for this house, alongside the loft house and the familiar location house. The Buffalo house also would have been included, and these would have been full-on remakes of these said houses in the Creations world in a full-on design, and would have been used for this party. However, unfortunately, we had a lot of time constraints that unfortunately prevented me from doing that. You see, this event was confirmed all the way back on April 20th, 2024, the day after the actual New York trip for the year was confirmed on April 19th. Now, at the time, we still did not have Legos Island or the Creations World back. So that was one reason, because we didn't have them back until May 15th. Once we got the worlds back on May 15th, my main focus was to work on the Legos Island Welcome Back party and the simulation arc, which took up over a week of my time. After that was over, I needed to work on the Creations World Welcome Back party because Monday was coming up at the time that I finished the Welcome Back party in terms of the tour. So I was working on two huge projects at once, where I was working on both the Legos Island Welcome Back party and then not long after the Creations World one, because it was almost the end of May. So during this time, I had zero time. During this time, I was so busy working on both of those Welcome Back parties that I had no time to work on the recreated versions of these houses in the Creations world. Another reason, which also can explain why this party occurred in June to begin with, the trip itself being just a few weeks after Legos Island Summer started. You see, immediately after the events of the Welcome Back party, Legos Island Summer began. And boy, that was a massive project on its own. So during this time, I had no time throughout June because we were just only a few weeks away from the New York trip, because it occurred on June 24th and the Legos Island Summer started on June 1st. Recreating both of these houses that we ended up doing in this party, they are huge projects, and there was no way I was going to be able to get them done in time. Because, of course, now that I had finished those Welcome Back events, we were just a few weeks away from the trip itself. And not to mention, I had to pre-record all these videos a week ahead of time. So that's another thing. Because I only had a few weeks to do this, I had zero time to work on this. And not to mention, another event, the Big Brother Series Farewell Celebration, I was doing videos on at the time, which was spread across the Creations world. So that's another thing. Because that event was so massive, that also ate up a ton of my time that I clearly could have dedicated to working on these houses. Unfortunately, as time went on, we kept getting closer and closer to the trip, and I had to pre-record all the videos for not only ZL2's, but all the other series as well that I could only do via my computer. Unfortunately, making me leave to the decision that I had no choice but to just use the LEGO's Island versions instead, because I was running out of time, and the trip was only just a few weeks away. And I had to pre-record all of these a week ahead of time, so I could, of course, get them up before the trip started on the 24th. And there you have it. That's why I had to instead use the LEGO's Island versions instead of full-on remakes in the Creations world. Like I said, the original premise was to do recreated versions in the Creations world in full-on structures, rather than using the miniature versions we saw in LI in this footage. So that could explain why this ended up being in LI, rather than ZL2, at least when it came to exploring the houses. With all that being said, that wraps up this Saturday's stories. With all that said, that was very interesting because, yeah, you could clearly tell this party went through a massive change. And you could tell that it wasn't supposed to be the LEGO's Island versions of the houses we were meant to see. We were meant to see full-on recreations. But unfortunately, time constraints and, of course, getting LI and Creations World back prevented all of that. So, unfortunately, the party was as is. It still ended up being a really cool party, but it really would have been cool to see full-on recreations of this in real time with, like, full-on recreations. And you never know. I could still do that one day. Unfortunately, I have to do it at a time that it's actually relevant, but oh well. Anyway, see you all in the next Saturday Stories on Saturday, August 24th. See you then!